Okay, so you're very welcome back to the Magic Minds podcast. I'm Matt Burke, and I'm joined by a special guest today by the name of Carolyn. Harvey. Carolyn, how's it going?
Hi Matt, how are you?
Welcome to the Magic Minds podcast. What's the crack?
Yeah, all right, good. Thanks very much for asking me.
Deadly, I'm so excited to get you on. Carolyn is a friend of mine, and she's also a drug-free masters physique competitor. Is that correct?
It is indeed, yes. Okay,
so as I say, Carolyn has been a masters physique competitor for the last number of years, but has also been in the health and the fitness industry for a good number of years. So I just thought it'd be brilliant to get her on for her insight, experience, and her life journey through it. You know, she's now a qualified nutritionist, personal trainer, but she's not just come out of college and has a degree or a cert. She basically has a lot of knowledge over the years through failing, succeeding, and just learning on the job kind of training. Would that be right?
Yeah, it's been a long journey.
Yeah, we know each other a long time, and I want to get it out there as well. You know, as I've trained with you a good number of years, and I see you around the gym, and I like your attitude and your outlook on training. You've taught me a lot. So if there's any ladies out there that are interested in training, I think this will be an interesting show for them. What are you up to at the moment, actually?
At the minute, I just qualified through the Body Type Nutrition Academy as a nutritionist. I'm now going on to do the Certificate of International Society of Sports Nutrition, it's more based on science. So that's where I am right now with the nutrition stuff. I'm just about to launch my own business as well, which is ISA Nutrition. So I have a lot going on. I'm not competing at the moment. It's decided to take some time out to concentrate on, you know, the business, getting it up and running, and just focusing on that, because you can't really do all that stuff at once. It's just when you compete, you've got to be really focused on the competing. Oh,
brilliant. So the ISA stands for Individual Sports and Athletic
That's
Nutrition.
Right. Yeah.
Brilliant name. Can't wait to see the logo. Any of the stuff that we covered today, Carolyn, is available on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to get in contact, I'll be putting your details up. I'll be putting your business details up. I know from talking to you over a number of years how good you are and how professional you are. So hopefully people will get from this how knowledgeable you are, and they want to get in contact with you, so you'll be able to support them through those avenues, whether it's individual, sports or athletic.
Yeah.
Because I think you will be an absolute amazing nutritionist. How did you get into it all? How did you, what got you into the health fitness industry?
God. Well, when I was younger, when I lived in Belfast, I went to the gym, and there were a couple of bodybuilders in there. And when I was a kid, I never really did sport. I was never really into it. I played netball and that, but it was just really hockey. And my skill, and the only reason I went to the hockey pitches was to smoke. That was it. Okay. I never really bothered with sport or anything. I never thought I was good at it, you know. And I was always a bit overweight as a child, so I was always a bit conscious of, you know, when you're a teenager, of that type of stuff. So I started then going to the gym in my late teens, and there was a couple of bodybuilders, you know, that would have went into my gym, and I trained with them a couple of times, and I liked doing the weights and stuff like that. And then I just sort of stopped doing it because I moved away. I was living in the UK, but I was going to the gym, but I was doing more aerobic based stuff. And I did some martial arts as well, which I really enjoyed. Okay. But then when I moved abroad, and I was living abroad for a long time, and I wasn't really doing much exercise. It just sort of slipped away. I wasn't really doing anything. But I started going back to the gym, and I started doing classes like body pump, body combat, stuff like that. Okay. And while they were great, they weren't really giving me the physique that I was looking for. Okay. So I bought a book, and I just started to teach myself.
A bodybuilding book?
I bought a book by a guy called Hugo Rivera, who's a friend of mine. He actually helped me through my first competition. He lives in Florida, and him and his wife helped me. And he has a book on female training and diet and stuff like that. So I started to teach myself about carbs, proteins and fats and the training and all that there. after that, then this was when I lived in Spain actually, and I got made redundant in my job, so I decided to come back home then, and so I started going back to the gym, and I always sort of fancied doing the PT course, so then that led me into the PT course, and while I was on the PT course, then I met other girls. And we would all read Oxygen magazine, and we would look at people like Erin Stern and Nicole Wilkins, who are, pro figure athletes. And I remember just looking at them thinking, God, I'd love to do that. I would really love to do that.
Okay.
And that's sort of where it started.
That invoked your passion for it?
Yes, I always liked the weight training. It was always, I don't know why, I like all types of training, really.
I know that now. Back then, like, I know training is a big thing now for girls, like weight training now, and I want to touch on that later on, actually. But back then, that was a little bit alien, though, wasn't it, for a young girl to get into weight training back then? Don't want to get bulky, don't want to get big. Yeah. Like, so what year was that actually?
I'm going back now. I went back, when was I living in Spain? I was there from 2008 to 2009. And that's when I bought the book.
Very
about
good.
2008.
Cool.
And yes, then all the girls did the classes. And I was the only one in with all the guys in the sort of weight training area of the gym,
right.
So it was very intimidating at the start.
Absolutely.
But I just thought, just bite the bullet, just do it. Because it's what I really wanted to do. So
brilliant. When was your first competition?
Oh, it was October 2011. It was a disaster.
Was it?
It was a disaster.
Why is that?
It was awful. Well, because I was getting help from abroad, they couldn't really see me properly in the photographs that I was taking and sending them. And I didn't know enough myself. I didn't know anything about the tan. So I was like whiter than white on stage because I only had like a sort of beauty salon tan on. Okay. And I didn't have any of the bodybuilding, it was just awful. I wasn't lean enough. I had water retention. I was quite jiggly in places, and it was awful. And I broke my heart afterwards. Like, it was really, really hard. Wow. Afterwards, because I felt like I'd made a total fool of myself. But I felt that at the start, but then, time passes, and then I thought, no, use it as a learning experience. Get back on the horse and go for the next one.
Absolutely. And what's involved, though, in getting prepped for a competition? Just give us a quick synopsis, a quick brief run through. What's the
Well, you've got to make sure you're eating enough calories to lose body fat. My problem was that I wasn't eating enough.
All right.
I was eating too little, and I was losing muscle tissue. But I've learnt all that over the years as it's gone along.
Okay. So you starved yourself. You thought cutting your calories straight away.
The calories were lower than my basal metabolic rate, which I need to keep my body operating per day. So they were actually below that.
That's just your maintenance.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, just for my body to work.
Yeah.
And I was doing way too much cardio. I was going mental on the cross trainer,
Yeah.
And I was taking muscle away from myself, But again, I was learning.
Yeah.
I was just learning as I went along.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to learn it for myself. It was really important I did that. But basically you're more or less cutting for 12 weeks. 12 weeks is sort of about the norm.
Right,
maybe
so
up to
12
16.
weeks, so 16 weeks, depending on the amount of body fat that you're carrying.
Exactly. And now I am actually a wee bit more careful. I would say, okay, how much do I think I need? I need 12 weeks. Okay, well, let's add 2 weeks on top of that in case anything goes wrong, and 2 weeks on top of that in case I haven't judged it properly. So then I would extend that for 16 weeks, because it's what I've learned as I went along, is not to just leave it for 8 to 12 weeks and then panic.
Okay, brilliant. I had a notion of going for a competition years ago, and I remember going in to see a fella, and I said, I think I'd like to do a competition. He says, take off your top there. And I was thinking, maybe 10, 8 weeks. And he was like, I think you're about 30 weeks away. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like a little baby seal. He's like, forget about it. Oh man, that is unbelievable. It takes a lot of dedication, and with the whole eating and all. But no, from talking to you over the years, you've had difficulties with eating disorders.
I have, yeah.
Would you mind sharing that with me? Just talk me through that.
When as far back as I remember, I always had this dysfunctional relationship with food. And when I was younger, it was I binge ate a lot from as far back as maybe 4 or 5 as I can remember. I would binge eat, and then as I got then into my sort of teenage years, early 20s, then I started to go down the anorexia route. So I started to starve myself then. And then I was floating then into bulimia after that.
Right.
So round about I left Belfast in 94, so it was 93. I was actually working in a supermarket, and I remember they used to bring all the stuff in and leave it on the staff table. The stuff that was going out of date.
Right.
So you got everything.
Yeah.
Mr.
Stuff.
Kipling's cherry bakewell, cherry
Jesus.
bakewell tarts and all that
now.
stuff. Yeah, and I remember one specific episode. There were apple and blackcurrant, Bramley apple and blackcurrant or something, and I think I had a whole box and went into the bathroom next door and then just puked it all up.
No.
And yeah, that was becoming a real regular occurrence, because I was really struggling with it. And then it seemed to stop for a while, and then it would go back to the binging again. It would just float between the three all the time. If I wasn't starving myself, I would binge and then I would starve myself.
Okay.
And then maybe binge and then purge.
Right.
And then I would try not to purge again, because I didn't, obviously the feeling of it's just horrible. And it was just years of just torture, of flitting in and out.
Cycles.
Of one of them.
Cycles, yeah. Did you getting involved in the bodybuilding and the exercise and the whole regime and that, did that support, did that help in any way, or did it hinder it, or was it added another layer of complexity?
I would say for me personally, for any normal person, it wouldn't touch them. But I think for me personally, because I already had disorders around food, it threw me out of the water a bit, and I went worse.
Oh, right.
I started to go into then the orthorexia, where I wouldn't eat anything else but these certain specific foods.
Healthy foods,
and my head was going nuts. I was going nuts.
Right.
And there were only certain foods that were in the plan that I was doing, because I didn't understand food, and it was then that I knew I wasn't right, and I knew I was really suffering on an emotional level too, I just thought, I can't do this anymore. This is destroying me. And I just thought, it's not bodybuilding, it's not the competitions, it was me. And so I stopped competing for a while, and I just sort of had a bit of a meltdown around about 2013, I think it was. And I'd gained a lot of weight because my rebound was so bad.
Right.
And I just felt really low all the time. It was horrible for about 1.5 years. It took me to come out of it,
And what brought you out of that? What was the turning point? What was the light bulb moment that changed it for you?
I think I'd also started to go to counselling as well, and I think that really helped me. So I was looking at stuff I needed to deal with, so that was helping me. And then also I started to get more interested in food. I just thought there has to be another way for me personally. This is not about anybody else, but this is for me.
Yeah. I
just thought, I can't do that because of my history with eating disorders. I need to find a way that's going to be healthy for me. And so then I started reading about food and learning about food and getting more into listening to people like Liam Norton, who is
absolutely
a scientist. And I thought, I need to start listening to what these people are saying.
Okay,
and I need to listen to other people that have been through the same thing as me.
Okay.
So then it all just started to flow. And
now, as I say, I know you a good few years, and I've never seen you so consistent. I just knew you back then. Didn't know the troubles and difficulties that you had of the mind or with the eating disorder. I didn't know it about you, but now I know you over the last, since I've been studying and working, you've been consistent. Your physique has been the same. Your training has been the same. And do you owe that down to the fact that you took it on yourself to get yourself the education and learn properly, not only the education through the books, but the mental health stuff as well?
Yes, I knew it was doing me damage. I knew it was doing myself damage.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I didn't find a way myself, that I was going to end up losing it.
Okay.
And I wanted to stay in competing as well, but I had to just distance myself from it for a while, and I just thought I need a rest from this. And also I'd found that, which I can't speak for anybody else, but I certainly was chasing trophies, and that was doing me damage as well, because I could find myself starting to sort of value myself and my placing, which is not what it's about. It's, it's about doing the best that you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could see that was happening as well, and that's where I had to stop for a while.
Wow, that's brilliant insight.
Yeah.
Like even having that awareness, but a trophy's kind of a form of an affirmation, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's lovely to have them. Like, they're great. It's nice to have, especially at my age as well, to say, like, I won that.
Absolutely, it's an amazing achievement. Jesus.
But at the same time, I have to do it for the right reasons. And the right reasons is not chasing it. The right reasons is because of, that I'm well within myself, and I had to bring my health had to come first. So I distanced myself for a while, and then I started learning, and like you say, I started to get more consistent, and then I was bringing more stuff back into my diet again, like, and I was eating cheese again, and then I was eating beetroot again, and I was having different stuff,
and there's no guilt.
No,
like
no
I'm just
guilt.
looking at the change in your face and body language, just as you're even talking about it now. You're changing. Your eyes are open. Your eyes are wide. It's funny that you're so happy and released, and it's brilliant to see you doing that. As far as mental health, here's a question for you: is exercise the great white hope that people say go and exercise if you're under mental health? Is it that?
Yes.
Does it save everything?
I wouldn't say it saves everything, but it certainly lightens the load. In my experience, I can't do without training, and I was told by my doctor when I was 13 I needed to exercise because I had anxiety stuff going on. And the thing is for somebody who's maybe struggling with mental health issues or anxiety or depression, feelings of low self-esteem and stuff like that, it can be very hard for them to even step foot in a gym.
Of course. Yeah. Well, what I'm trying to say is, like, as you know, from my own chats with you, I suffer with anxiety and I have my down moments, and I exercise just as much, probably not as properly and professionally as the way you do. You see me chatting in the gym all the time, having the crack, but I mean, it doesn't cure it. It's not fix it all, like the way people talk about. It helps me get me ducks in a row, with me sleep, with me reading, with me meditation, but people throw it out there like it's the cure for everything.
I wouldn't say that, but it's certainly, I don't, there's other things that people have to go, personally for me, I had to go for counselling. The gym didn't solve a lot of the stuff that I had going on, but I think that it definitely, I feel stronger when I train. If I have a strong body, my mind feels strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as I say, it can be hard for people, especially people who are maybe who are overweight, to think, I've got to go in there.
It's a daunting place, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's full of, we perceive all those skinny people in there that know what they're doing, and it's really hard for people, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the gym we train at now, it took me 2 years to pick up the courage to go in there to join.
Wow.
Because I felt really intimidated.
Did you?
Well, yeah, it was a real spit and sawdust place, and I kept walking past it because I was living in Rathmines at the time. And every day I would have a wee neb in, and I would think, I really want to go in there, because I wanted to be around the people that were in there. And I didn't have enough confidence to do it. And then one day I just bit the bullet and say, right, it's now or never, just do it,
Yeah, I was like that. There was a gym that Tommy used to train in, Powerhouse over in Dominic Street.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
And it was just like, it was a really low ceiling gym. It was only maybe a couple of 100 feet long. And it was like, that's where I need to be, where them people are. So I can understand that. It's daunting to go into those. So like, even back from me back then, and I'm from the inner city, I was like, wow, this is scary, and they'll eat you alive. But once you get in and get going,
it's not like that.
No, it's not. So what do you think are the pillars of health? Like, what are your startup things to do, or your main go-to things for to be actively healthy? We said exercise is one of them. What else is your go-to things? For
me, it was getting my nutrition right. I'm not going to say diet, because a lot of people, when they hear the word diet, think restriction. But I had to get my nutrition right, and I had to not feel guilt around food. Like, it's okay to have a bit of chocolate. It's okay to have a burger and chips now and again.
Yeah.
It's okay to do that. If I'm working that in to the bulk of my plan, you know, it's actually okay. I am sane because I'm still enjoying life.
There's no restrictions.
No restriction. Okay, fair enough. When I compete, it's different. I have to be tighter, but that's a different ball game, and I understand that.
Okay, understand.
But for anybody who doesn't want to compete, who just wants to get fitter and healthier, like, there are ways that you can do that by still enjoying the wee treats that you like every now and again, you know.
Yeah, so exercise, nutrition, anything else?
Having a laugh. Having the crack.
Having the crack. Yeah, but you look, if you're getting abs, you can't be having the crack. You need to be serious. You need to be dedicated. You need to...
having the crack and being light, you know, and just, if you've got issues, go and see somebody, you know, just don't leave them, you know. And a friend of mine always says to me, Carolyn, it's not a shame to have issues, but it's a shame if you don't do anything about them. And it really makes, every time he says that, it makes sense, you know.
Absolutely. What's your thoughts on sleep?
100. Oh, the top.
Would sleep be up there with you?
Yeah. Sleep and hydration.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's what I've learned, and it's so true. Yeah. If you're not getting rest and recovery, you can't. Well, if you're tired all the time, and then what happens is you're starting to dip into all the foods that, you know, you don't. If you're tired, you need a hug, and you get hugs from donuts.
I've hugged many a donut in my day,
but you don't get hugs from broccoli.
I don't want to hug off a broccoli. I don't hug mini trays.
No, exactly. So when you're tired and you're feeling low, I mean, it all goes hand in hand. When you're tired, it affects your outlook. And I personally, you know, now I'm in a good place, thankfully, where I can push through that. I'm just tired. But, you know, you need sleep. You need to rest and recover.
Absolutely. I didn't sleep last night, and I trained today, and I kind of trained, and I felt like a bag of shit. Yeah. So I had to rest and recover before I got down for this interview. It's huge. I put it up there as the top one. Yep, I don't probably stick to as much, even though I don't get a sleep. I still go training. It's just part of my routine. I kind of say, okay, I'll make up for later, but I probably shouldn't. That's probably one of my downfalls, that I don't stay in bed when I should. Sleeping is the king, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
We slightly touched on nutrition, but I needed you to give me it. I need the answer. Nutrition. Is it low fat? Is it low carb? What is it for people? There's so much information out there. This is right. That's right. GI diets, low carb, low fat. You know, I was a low carb advocate for a long time, and you changed my mind through education. What's the best diet?
The one you can stick to.
No, that's too simple. No. I want a more complicated scientific answer.
Scientific answer. All right. Everybody's different. You already know that.
Yeah.
The thing is that the diets out there are only sustainable for a certain length of time, and then people just get annoyed. They get bored. They get fed up. You know, and I personally, when I did stuff like that, would go out then, and my binging would be worse. It was bad enough, but it would be worse, you know. Like, protein is absolutely essential. Fat is absolutely essential for our hormones. Protein is essential for our building and repair of our bodies. Carbohydrates are really important. Okay, they're not essential, but they are important, especially if you're training, because you need that fast energy. Especially lifting weights and stuff like that, all that there. But I love my carbs.
Okay.
And I used to be terrified to eat them.
But you're like on 300 grams of carbs at the moment a day.
Yeah, I've just come off of I was on a reverse diet. I've been going through cycles of dieting and reverse dieting, and I just came off one. I was on 2,700 calories a day. Yeah. And it was on 335 grams of carbs.
I have this Catholic guilt in the back of my mind going, that's just wrong. You're meant to be I'm low carb. You can't be doing that.
I know.
That shocks me. Yeah. And I see you eating jellies in the gym. Yep. I see you eating sweets, to get your carb load up. But that'll make you fat.
No. Well, look, you've never seen me, like you said
I've
earlier.
never seen you lean. No, you're looking great, Nick. You look savage.
Well, that's from just learning, and it's also knowing that, you know, I can have those jellies during my training to lift the same heavy in my next set. If I feel my body waning, I keep jellies in my bag.
Absolutely. I've seen you train, and you train a savage. Like, you put me to shame. I love standing around having the chats. I've seen you train a phenomenal Ray, and you've educated me to the point that I'm a huge fan of the low carb for the science, and I get my bloods done, I get my profile and my endocrine system looked at, and they all come back good. But the one thing they didn't tell me, and I was on low carb for years, the one thing we didn't get tested with the bloods was, how's your mood? My mood was shit on a low carb diet, but I was pig stubborn. I'm not letting this go because the science is right and I believe it. And I was like, nah. And I did lose weight and I did look okay, but I felt like a bag of shite.
Yeah.
Like, going really low carb doesn't suit me. No. And it was only through you when I handed myself over to you and said, look, I'm going to follow you wherever you'd say do. And I was eating jellies after training. I was adding in sweets. It was difficult. I had the Catholic guilt. But I had to give up the ghost and go, what? Yeah. The low carb just didn't work for me.
No.
But when I do stuff with people, personal trainer, whatever class, I ask them how's the mood. But I wasn't asking myself that. It's crazy, isn't it, that we stick to something so religiously just because we think it works. Yeah,
but I did that for years as well, and I wouldn't let go of stuff, and I thought, you know, that I had the answer, and I didn't know the answer. You know, I didn't know the answer, and I thought I did, but I was only picking up what I had learned until I thought, like, you know what, I don't know this. I really don't know this. I need to go and start learning for myself. You know, I had to go back to school, more or less. You know, I learnt all this when I was at school, how fat, carbs and protein is processed in the body, and I had to go and learn it all again. I had to eat a lot of humble pie and just sit down and learn it. But it's been the best thing I've ever done, is to learn it. But the whole carb thing is a lot. It can suit people. Low carb diets can suit some people.
Absolutely, you know? I've done work with girls in a job, and one or two of them getting ready for weddings, and some of them went low carb and they were doing brilliant. And I've worked with other guys. It just didn't suit, but we'll change it within a couple of weeks. But as I say, when I worked with you, and I was looking at mine, I was at home eating the food that you were telling me to eat, but I was looking at me low carb ketogenic books going, oh, I feel like I'm cheating on you. No. And they're looking at me and I'm going, but this feels right. And I remember you used to text me, how are you feeling? And I'm like, I'm feeling happy. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But it's about dropping and going with how you feel, isn't it?
Yes, and I think like how I got really back to sort of feeling confident in myself, and how I got to my eating disorders have all stopped. I was 10 months clear of all that stuff yesterday, which is amazing to me because it's been going on for since I was tiny. But sorry, I lost my train of thought there. What we were talking about, the
nutrition.
The nutrition. I think for me personally, it was when I started to bring all the stuff back in that I thought was bad for me. And when I started to learn that it wasn't bad for me, and what I wanted more was, I wanted my skin to glow. I wanted to feel happy, like you were saying. You know what I mean? I wanted to feel good in myself. Yeah. And when I started eating fruit again and eating, Sicilian blood orange is one of the nicest things you can ever eat in your whole life. Like, they're just
I've
lovely.
never even seen one of those bad
gorgeous.
Boys. Oh, blood oranges.
The blood oranges.
My man bought them years ago, and I cut one open, and I was like, that's rotten.
So
throwing her out. And I cut one open. I said, that's rotten too. I got through about 12, and I kissed my man, all those oranges are rotten. She went, they're meant to be like that. I was like, oh, fuck. I thrown them all out.
They're lovely.
Do you know what? Thanks very much for sharing your vulnerability about your eating disorders. And as you say, you're still constantly managing it, and you know, you're mindful of it. You're not saying, oh, I don't have it, it's gone away. You're still just working through it. And it's like the mental health as well, isn't it? It's just part of you, a very small part.
Yeah. And I just don't want to do, you know, the whole eating disorder thing, you know, again, I can only speak for me, but I was using food as you know, I was emotionally eating, or, you know, I was using it as a distraction, or I was using it as a punishment, or, you know, like, I think it was 2012, NABA 2012. I got top 6, I came 6, and I was disappointed. I thought I looked better probably than what I did, and that was okay. But when I came off stage, and my friend Niall was there, and he's always supported me from day one, from I started to compete, and he went, "What's the matter?" And I was just really upset, because I felt like a failure. So it wasn't the placing at all. It was nothing to do with that. It was how I was feeling about myself. Okay. And I had bought a chocolate cake because I'd missed my birthday. It was my 40th birthday. Oh. And I'd missed it, right? Because I was dieting. My sister was down with my niece and they were staying over. And they went to bed and I sat up all night and I ate that whole cake. Oh, no. Punishing myself for feeling like a failure.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was horrible. Like, it was really horrible. And I had to be careful then that it didn't start going into the bulimia again.
Yeah.
And then, so it's been a constant battle, but now I just wanted to stop doing that. I just wanted to stop doing that to myself,
That's powerful.
Yeah.
It's I'm not saying it's gas. To think back, the dedication and commitment to even get yourself on stage, but yet you perceived yourself as a failure.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That is unbelievable. Just to get yourself in the position to be even on that stage, I would think, wow, I've achieved. It's amazing how your barometer of success, isn't it? And how we beat each other.
Yeah.
You probably would have done it if you got 5th or 4th. I
probably would have. And like what we're going back to what we were talking about earlier on, that's when I started to see that I was valuing myself through a €20 trophy. And that's when I knew then, hold on a wee minute, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I had to sit. We've talked about it before, about meditation and stuff like that, and I would do meditation, and it was then I started to think, I started to hear what was going on inside as well.
Right. Listen to your own body.
I don't need to chase a trophy anymore to value myself as a person. I'm a person in my own right.
Very good. Yeah. Excellent. So for somebody starting off, we're just back to the nutrition. Someone starting off, they want to start practicing eating healthy. They want to be mindful. Where do they start? What's the starting point? Would you say to someone?
Sleep and hydration are the biggest ones. Like if you don't even like water, because a lot of people don't like water even. No. So when I'm trying to help somebody that has a poor quality diet, I would say
specifically for that.
Yeah, I would say, okay, let's look at your sleep first of all. How you sleeping, and do you drink water? I don't like water. Okay, well, there's those new things where you can put the fruit inside and put it in the bottle.
Yeah,
so
brilliant.
You can put limes and lemons in there, and you can have that. And usually people will start to like, because they like that sort of stuff. But it can be very, very slow process depending on where you are in your journey or your life or whatever. Then it would maybe, okay, why don't you try and eat just one more portion of fruit a day and one portion of vegetables extra per day. Let's do that for a couple of weeks or whatever, depending on where they are. If they can go full hell for leather, well then let's go. But for some people it can be a slow change. Like me, it was a slow change over time.
I'm guilty of that, jumping in feet first. Yeah. So, but it's good advice to starting them off with the vegetables, the fruit, and just taking it slowly into it, and then.
Yeah, and a lot of people as well, they want to go full on into the food prep thing and change their whole diet overnight. And my own experience of that has been just give it 3 weeks, because you're going to get annoyed. Because food prep takes time.
Absolutely.
Yourself.
Yeah, but it's key though, isn't it?
It is key, but wee bits at a time to start with, and then when you're comfortable with that, do a wee bit more, and then do a wee bit more, and you learn better to have 4 pots on the go. And do you know what I mean?
Like Tupperware.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on then the whole protein intake, and especially around female people training, not even female training, just ladies in general?
Yeah, well, look, protein's essential. We need it. We need it for build, maintenance and repair of our bodies. Like, it is an essential macronutrient. But people get afraid of that as well. So it's, because there's so much out there that says protein's bad for you, and you'll get this will happen to your kidneys, and carbohydrates are bad for you, they'll make you fat. Fat's not good for you. So what, are we going to become breatharians or something? Like, what are we supposed to eat,
Breatharians, I love it.
So, like, what, what can we eat? If we can't eat fats, carbs and protein, there's nothing else for us to eat. So
something has to be enemified, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Someone has to be the bad guy.
Yeah, always. And the thing is that 2 of them are essential and 1 of them is important. And, you can have all that you can have. You can eat carbs. You can eat potatoes, believe it or not.
Yeah. You don't get fat. You just don't have to eat the pizzas like I do. So, but girls shouldn't be afraid of protein, right?
No, not at all. The only if you have a pre-existing condition with your renal system, then it would be recommended. If somebody came to me with a kidney disorder, I would say, look, you really need to see your GP first, because I'm not a dietitian for anybody with renal issues. I'm a nutrition coach.
Yeah.
So, but for the normal person, protein is, don't be afraid of it. Eat it. You need it.
Every biological process in your body needs amino acids.
It really does.
But people forget that part. They think it's just for building muscle. Hair, nails, organs, function. It's so important. But people don't. They don't put it on their plate. I recently on a course, on a training course, and all the lunches were just sandwiches. It was just bread and leaves, and I was bringing in protein with me just because. And I'm not competing. I just wanted to have protein in my food, and people are looking at me like I was Neanderthal.
Yeah.
They thought I was like a caveman.
Yeah.
And I had to explain myself, and I got a little bit comfortable with that. They're like, "Why do you always do that?" I was like, "No, only in places that don't give me meat." Or I'm going to eat one of your kids or something. Would you like that? I'll take a chunk out of his little fat leg. So protein is super essential.
Definitely.
And I try to ram that down people's neck. Get it into you. Just eat protein.
And fats too, because we need those for our hormones as well, and transporting the vitamins and minerals.
I just think girls are just scared of protein sometimes. Is that right? I'm not some brand of girls being scared. It's hard to get them. I know even with my own mum, I'm like, how much protein did you eat today? And she's like, how much protein did I eat in the last week? But she's a mighty fine woman. Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff out there in women's magazines and stuff like that. There's they can word stuff that make it sound like all this stuff is bad for you. And again, what are we supposed to eat if we're not eating things from the trees and the earth? Then what do we eat?
Yeah, but just eat the processed food that are cheaper and easier to make. But that's a whole new conversation.
Oh, definitely.
So here's my next one for you. Since we're sticking on the women thing, cardio or weight training for women? Women are afraid to do weights. Right. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, it's the best thing I ever did was pick up a weight.
Right.
Yeah, because I prefer an athletic looking physique for myself, and I always wanted to look athletic. Even as a child, it was but I never thought I could look that way.
Okay.
Because I was always a bit of a chub.
Yeah.
So I always thought I could never look like that. I always thought I would never have abs.
Okay.
And it was weight training. Then when I started to see how to weight train properly, hypertrophy, strength, and all that. Yeah. When I learnt all that, and then when I did my PT course, I realised then that I don't have enough testosterone in my body to look like Man Mountain Benny. I just can't do it.
Okay, so lifting weights doesn't make you bulky.
No,
for
not
women.
at all.
Okay, and a lot of girls think that. And I remember, even when I teach my class, I predominantly do a lot of weight stuff, and the predominantly girls.
Yeah.
And, some of them are in savage nick, some of them are really fit, but they don't get bulky, they don't look manly, they look really girly, they look brilliant.
Yeah.
And they've banished the fear of it, they've embraced it. They're brilliant, the girls that train with me. But I wish other girls would embrace that and not fear it. As you say, the testosterone, women don't have enough to produce growth like that. And it's the building to it, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Women are too easily to jump onto the cardio thing, isn't it? Because this is what they do. Is that right, or am I just labelling them? I don't mean to.
I think there's maybe a lot of women that would like to try weight training, but again, there's a lot of fear around it, because it's even when you go into a gym, when I think of where I train here and the gym I train at in Belfast, is very mixed now. There's a lot more women doing the weight training, but I think some women are still afraid, you know.
Absolutely. I was just on a course recently. That course I was telling you about, there's a girl and she listens to the show, and she was on my course, Christine. She was talking about training in the gym, but she just finds them, and I didn't really get it years ago. I do now. It's a bit intimidating going to the gym, especially when you don't know what you're doing, you know, and they're daunting places. What kind of advice would you give to somebody like that? I
would say definitely grab a hold of somebody you know, or somebody in the gym that's a personal trainer. If you really don't know what you're doing at all with weight training, get advice first. Get somebody to help you. You know, read up on it online as well. Like, we have we've got an encyclopedia at our fingertips. There's so much out there. YouTube, you know, Google this, Google that, whatever.
It's very hard to
everything is out there.
It's very hard to decipher, isn't it, though, what's right, what's wrong. When I just straight away says, look, I'll give you a dig out if you want me to come to the gym, and if you're around, I'll introduce you to her and maybe help. But yeah, they're daunting places, aren't they?
They are. And I think for the likes of, I personally prefer, you know, to train at Raw Gym, because it's bars and there's nothing fancy in it, and I like that. People are just there to train. It's the same as Flex Gym that I train in Belfast, is exactly the same. And, you know, people in there will help you if you're struggling. You know, there's people around that everybody in there just wants to train.
Absolutely.
You know, and the people will help you. It may seem intimidating, but the people are great, you know, and they will help you out if you need it.
And it's such a mix, isn't it? And a lot of gyms are like that now. Well, I don't really know a lot of gyms anymore because I'm in Raw so long. But there's a lot of mix in Raw, isn't there? Yes. Like, there's people doing different things. There's combat fighters, there's bodybuilders, there's power lifters, there's women, there's men. There's a whole lot of women now in Raw in the morning, and especially doing the powerlifting stuff, which is brilliant to see. Yeah. Like, I'm delighted with that.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Absolutely. My question was to you, what would you recommend then for girls, as in weight training, 2, 3, 4 times a week? What's your thoughts on it?
I personally would start off just a few days a week, because your body, if you haven't been doing anything for a long time, your body has to get used to that. It has to get used to the recovery of weight training as well. You know, it's stressful on the body. So I would probably start off 2 to 3 times a week first. It all depends. I would definitely, you know, as an absolute beginner, I would probably take people between machines and free weights at the start, and, you know, just allow them just to get the feel of things.
Yeah, I always do that.
Yeah, let them get the feel of things, let them get the feel of the movements. And then I would start to move on to the bigger things like squatting and deadlifting and stuff like that, which, as you know, it's technical. It takes a lot to break that down to teach somebody.
Absolutely.
But if people just want sort of fat loss, you know, I would be inclined just to get them started, get them in the gym and help them to stop feeling intimidated, and let them see that nobody's really looking at them.
No,
you know, everybody's getting on with their own stuff.
Well, definitely not on Raw anyway.
No, definitely
there's a
not.
good community there. So a couple of times a week just to get in a bit of a routine.
Yeah, definitely.
But you know yourself, you go once or twice, and if you feel comfortable in a place, it builds momentum, doesn't it?
That's it, yeah.
And then you get the consistency. I feel like I have you here, so I'm going to ask as many questions to pick your brain. What's your thoughts on supplements as a competitor and as a nutritionist? What's your thoughts on supplements?
I use very little.
Okay, that's great to hear.
And the reason being is I want to get all of my nutrients from food first. I use protein powder.
Okay.
I also use creatine, and I use vitamin D because we don't get enough of it in this country. And fish oil. That's basically all.
Okay. And
I do have vitamin tablets just in case I'm out and about and maybe I haven't got enough in that day, you know, of fruit and vegetables. Then I might take one late that night before I go to bed, just to make sure that I'm getting all my minerals in, you know, because life gets busy sometimes, and I can't always, you know, sometimes
absolutely
remember that. Sometimes I can walk out the door and forget a meal, you know, if I'm in a hurry or whatever. Yeah. The
market is absolutely saturated, though, isn't it, with supplements? You can see, it must have people's heads spinning. This does that. That's does. Yeah. Do you take creatine?
I take creatine, yes, because it is the most researched supplement, and I know from my studies with nutrition that it does. You know, creatine does work.
Yeah, it's one of the main ones, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like even protein powder is up there, whether it's 100% that works as well, but creatine definitely works.
Definitely.
There's tons and tons of studies on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, people, they just throw money at it, don't they? Like there's more bang for your buck for consistency, frequency, lifting weights, eating well, sleeping well, you know, all the stuff that you don't have to spend money for.
Yeah.
Where people think if I go out and buy a load of supplements, they'll get me there quicker.
Yeah, that's all I personally take. I know that there's some people use beta alanine as a like a pre-workout, but I have my coffee in the morning and that does me. You know, I find that's fine. Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. Who was your inspiration?
Oh, apart from Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I think he's everybody's in the fitness industry.
Yeah.
Well,
in general, in life, who are your inspirations?
My inspiration. Well, there's so many. To name a few, in the bodybuilding industry, obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he was one even way before. You know, when he was in Rambo.
Yeah.
And Frank Zane would be my favourite bodybuilder now. I love his physique because it's not too big, and he's so well proportioned, and the symmetry and the cut, like it's just everything about him. But there's so many inspiring people, like people that are kind. Audrey Hepburn is another one. I could sit here all night and people would get bored. They don't want to hear that stuff. But yeah, I would say the likes of I like listening to Arnold Schwarzenegger. I like listening to C.T. Fletcher as well.
Yeah, C.T. Fletcher motivates you, doesn't he?
Yeah, he is great. But people who have worked hard for stuff, but they give, you know, they're kind and they've always got time for other people. Cool. They inspire people. Even my friends inspire me.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I'm inspired by people around me.
Yeah, you inspire me.
Well, you inspire me.
Yeah,
it's the appreciation club. I appreciate you.
I love you.
Do. I love you. Yeah, no, you do inspire me. Yeah. You know, the work that you've done, as you say, for people that don't know, a masters competitor is somebody over 40.
Yeah.
And people say, "Oh, I'm 40, I'm old," but you're not. You're getting younger looking. You're looking better. You know, you're such an inspiration to me and everyone else out there. So I'm delighted to have you on the podcast. So my next thought was, what books? What kind of books do you read, or what books would you lend to people? What's your favourite books? I want to pick your mind on these kind of things.
The book I'm reading at the minute is the study book for the CISSN.
I see it over there and it's giving me the shivers. Reminds me of being back in college.
I know, I take that to bed with me and everything. I'm like that with it. It's just the science. I love getting my head into it.
Yeah, I love science.
What type of books do I read? At the minute, like the past couple of years, it's been nutrition. But you know, I love reading books on training. But there are other books like that I read on, like music. I'm a big Depeche Mode fan. Okay. You know, so I like reading about, you know, Dave Gann, who is like, he would be an inspiration of mine as well. Okay, cool. But you know, I like reading about people and their lives.
Autobiographies.
I like them. I'm reading one about Audrey Hepburn at the moment, and
okay, that's interesting.
Read one about George Michael a while ago, and
wow,
yeah, I like reading about people and what they're doing. And
yeah, I like non-fiction as well. I did read one a while ago. The first fiction book I've read since I don't know, leaving cert in 1990 something was Dublin 7 by an author, Frankie Gaffney. I had him on the show as well. Yeah. Amazing book, amazing guy. That was a fiction. That's the first one I've read, I'd say, in a long time, but brilliant. They're hard to read, non-fiction, aren't they? Yeah. Or fiction books are hard to read sometimes for me.
Yeah, they can be. So I think you need to be in the mood. I normally have about 3 books going at once.
Yeah, me too. I've got 3 on the go. Definitely. So, what is the plan at the moment? What's the future for Carolyn?
Well, I'm training away. I can't train with the same intensity at the moment. I've got a bit of an injury, and so that's taken a while to heal. So I can't push it, which is really annoying, because I like going at intensity. So I'm not really sweating too much in my workouts these days. But at the minute, so because I've got that going on, and then all of a sudden I just thought, right, that's it. I'm starting my own business now. When I got my qualification through that I passed, I thought I need a couple of weeks break now, because it's been heavy going, because I was competing solidly for 2 years before that as well. And I thought, I need a break. I'm going to give myself a few weeks. And then over the last couple of weeks, it was just like, do you know what? See, if I don't do this now, I'm never going to do it. So I resigned from my job in the middle of working my notice.
Oh, you're some woman.
Yeah. And I just thought, I'm going to do it. And I can work part-time, you know, to cover, you know, the basics, and start working on my nutrition business, because this is what I want to do. I want to help people.
So the ISA Nutrition.
ISA Nutrition, Individual Sport Athletics, yes.
Tell you, I love the name. It sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
But why I like it and why I like your concept on it is because you've come from a place of having the eating disorders, having the problem, and you educate yourself, you problem solved, and you've competed, you've won competitions, we didn't even touch on, you went to Brazil, you represented, you've won competitions, and now you're going on and you have a business in nutrition.
Yeah.
I think personally that's the way to do it. Yeah,
and I'm proud of myself for sticking with it and working hard, and I wanted to get into sport as well. You know, I love boxing, and I'm involved a little bit with a boxing club here too. And I love boxing. I love football. You know, there's a lot of sport that I like. So I didn't just. I wanted to do, of course, help people with fat loss. But when I did my nutrition course, a lot of it was about fight athletes, strength athletes, team athletics. So we learnt how to cater for all types of sports, not just the fat loss as well. Yep. And I find that, you know, it's a more scientific approach as well with, you know, a performance of an athlete as well. So I find that really interesting.
Yeah, and then plus, as you know, a lot of like people in the fitness industry, they're going to get pigeonholed to either get fat loss, but you have a great background. You've got to compete and you can do the fat loss. You've got the studies to back it up now. You have your body type nutrition training, and then you're doing the sport specific science. Yeah. Savage. So that opens up many doors for you. Any more competing planned?
I do, yes. But this year, look, you can't do everything at once, and competing is so absorbing, you know, it takes it out of you. And for me personally, I like to just focus on one thing at a time. I have a bit of a masculine mind. I can't really multitask.
What are you talking about? What are you saying? Us men can multitask.
I know, I must have like, a 50-50 brain or something. But the way I look at it is, right, okay, I wanted to compete this year, but when I got the injuries, I thought, no way, because when I next walk out on stage, I want to look much different than the last time people seen me, you know, and I need time to do that. So I'll compete next year. I'm going to do a block of competitions, and I feel that's the best way. Okay, where will you do that? I'll compete here, I'll compete up north, and I'll compete in the UK. Brilliant. As well. Yeah. And it'll all be like masters. Yeah, and did I emphasise the fact that you're drug free? Absolute drug free. And that's what I do like about you. There's very little supplements that you take a small amount, but absolutely drug free. Yeah. It's not a route I wanted to go down, to be honest with you. Yeah, and we're not, again, let's get this out there, we're not criticising or pointing fingers. If people want to do that, look, I don't judge anyone, they do whatever they want to do. Absolutely. But this is your gig, and these are the... Yeah, 100%. Like you say, it's not a criticism of anybody else. We've all got a right to do what we want with our bodies, you know, and if people are happy, let them be. But for me personally, yes, it was important for me that I didn't go down that route. It wasn't something it wasn't a choice for me at all. And I want to help other people who... Yeah. But I know from my own experience and over the years and understanding of the steroid industry and the drug thing, that supersedes nearly everything else. It's very hard, and you need another degree in biochemistry to actually understand the effects of that in the body as well. Yeah. Like, not even a judgment call. This is an education to understand, to work with somebody that's taken anabolic steroids. You have to have an understanding of biochemistry and the endocrine system and all that. So you'd be doing the person an injustice anyway. I wouldn't have a clue. Yeah, exactly. So so leave that to the professionals. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you're going to compete hopefully 3 or 4 times next year. Next year, yes. I've already, I mean, look, it's always in my mind. Competing is always in my mind. When's going to be the next one? But I know I need time to build, because, look, I am small. I'm a small female, and it does take time. And I take away, 2 years ago, I competed with the British Natural Bodybuilding Federation. And the girl, the head judge there, she was like, you just need to build, you know. And I know I need to build, and that's, you know, it's, if I get another, say, 3 kilos on me by the next time I compete, because you lose muscle when you're, you know, you don't lose if you do it right, it's losing absolute minimal amount of muscle when you're dieting down. Absolutely. But I'm hoping to hit the stage maybe about 4 kilos heavier. And it's harder when you get older as well, you know. But it's not impossible.
No,
it's
absolutely
just
not.
Yeah.
Does it frustrate you though when you see other people, and not saying they frustrate you, but how quick they can make gains, and it's very hard for somebody going natural to hit those, to see a change in your body. You know what I mean? When you do steroids, you change quickly. You really need to have your eye on the prize, don't you? And have to really want what you want.
Yes.
To stick it out.
Yep. And I think it's all about being, again, it comes back to being true to yourself. Like we were saying, if people want to do that, it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like I don't, and the way I look at it is, that's okay for them, but this isn't me, and I'm only really in competition with myself at the end of the day. That's the only person I can beat, is the person I was yesterday. That's it. There's no, I don't, like, other people aren't really in, I mean, we've known each other a long time now, so we know we're really good friends. And, you know, for me, this is about me beating me, and nobody, like, I don't try and prove people wrong, or like, because when you start doing that, you're giving people power. Then you're thinking, well, I'm just going to prove you wrong. So it becomes about them. It doesn't come about your journey anymore.
Absolutely.
You lose yourself.
You give it away. And I was only on that course recently, and it's all, when you begin everything with I do this, I can do that, I've got the power. You own the power.
That's right.
As soon as you start saying they, them, there, you give your power away, and you it's not about you anymore. Yeah. So that's exactly what I was trying to say. Definitely. It's about you. Yeah. So you really have to be solid in yourself. Yeah.
For me, I know where I'm going. There's a clear path. I can see it. It doesn't matter what anybody else says or thinks, or it doesn't matter, as long as I can see it, and I can see it. It's there. It's clear as anything.
Visualization.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be. I
can see it. Like it's just, I've never been so.
Yeah.
It's like I'm just walking this. I don't know. I can't even describe it. I just know that it's there, and I can see it. Like, and I'll get to where I want to be, even if it takes me double the time as everybody else. It doesn't matter.
Fair play. Wow, Jesus, Roy. I've taken up a lot of your time, Carolyn.
It's no problem at all.
I feel like I'll start paying you at this.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Look, thanks so much.
Thanks for asking me.
I'm so delighted. There's so much more I'd love to ask you. There's so much more I'd love to get out there, but I just wanted to get as much out of you as I can in this short period of time.
No
I know you're busy. But look, this was so inspirational, so motivational for me. Every time I see it in the gym, I'm like, oh, I need to get me shit together. So I'm not even interviewing, I'm motivated. And again, it's education. I want girls, young lads, mostly girls. I'm targeting girls right here, because you're an ambassador for the girls and strength training. Not to be afraid of it, not to fear failure with your food. But if they do, and if they're having struggles, get in contact with you. You know, yes. Carolyn, Harvey, you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, Twitter. I'll put up your details. If people need help with coaching, whether that's online or one-to-one, you'll do that with them, yeah? Yeah,
or even if they just need a bit of chat and somebody to talk to about stuff that's going on, because sometimes all we need is somebody that we actually don't know in a non-judgmental sort of, you know, and I wouldn't be in a position, I'm not going to judge anybody for having a couple of problems, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But absolutely not. But I think, you know, not just the females, but men too. There's some men that are terrified to go into gyms, and they're scared to eat, and, you know, there's a lot of eating disorders are coming around in men now too, you know.
Thanks for doing that, because men are getting bashed in the news, really. Thanks very much. The lads.
It's the same. Up the lads.
Up the lads, No. But no, I really want you to be a shining light for the girls there that want to get into training or are in at the moment and need to dig out. Because as I said to you earlier, your perfect position from the experiential learning out those degrees and qualifications all day long. Failing and succeeding is the answer to long-term success and consistency. Definitely. You know, Okay, right. Well, we leave it there, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, and thanks, Carolyn, for coming in. I'm absolutely delighted.
Pleasure.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant, guys. I hope you really enjoyed the show. Please subscribe on iTunes and leave a delicious review. It's your reviews that will get us up the ratings and get these amazing stories, and I'll get more people like Carolyn, and hopefully I'll get her back. So keep subscribing, share it with a family and friends, because that will get our show up the charts and get us views and more popularity, so we can spread the word. As always, I want to thank Niall Riley from Rooney Graphics. He's my go-to guy for graphic design and getting our podcast off the ground. And the lads from Scrap Chat, Kevin, me sound technician, I'm trying to rob him off Scrap Chat, but I don't know what's going to happen. And Shane Kirkwood, two lads at Scrap Chat, an amazing show. If you're interested in combat sports, please check those dudes out. And also me main man, Toy Luby, Up Dog Yoga, check him out. And of course, Carolyn Harvey, the personal trainer, strength and conditioning, coaching, nutrition. She's everything in one, with years of experience. So please get in touch with me or get in touch with Carolyn if you need advice or support around your nutrition or anything health and related. She will sort you right out. Wherever you are in the world, please mind yourself and mind your family and have the crack. Catch you later. Bye.